We're here to discuss part 2 of Sun in all 12 houses. Good to see you, Dr. Dharmesh. Namaskar. How are you doing,
Namaste.
sir?
Yeah, fine. After the first part, we are entering into the second part. And very interesting first part we have already done. So viewers will be very much benefited with the second part very soon. So just begin the story. As an introduction, we should again say about the sun that we have discussed that sun is a light, sun is a soul, sun is a deeds performer. So that we are showing the sun in the different houses, so that viewers can know that what the sun is and how the sun is effective in everyone's life. So yeah, just we can start with the sun in the seventh house, right? Until today, yet we have completed sun placement in sixth house. Now we are entering the sun in the seventh house. So should I begin?
Please, sir, please.
Yeah. So sun in the seventh house as compared to the other house, this is also one of a house where sun is weak. Weak in the sense, even though it is a Kendra, it is a weak because as per the direction, it is a west. So west where the sun rests, and sun doesn't give any say in the seventh house. Again, the Kalpurusha, if we consider seventh is a doubleted sign also as per the Kalpurusha in Libra, it doubleted. So sun in the seventh house means your opposite person always try to guide you. Your opposite person always try to focus you, and you are always been carried out by the people. So they are the influential person in your life, and you are not able to come out from the influence of them from your life. So they are playing a very important role in your life, and your life is always focusing what others are doing, and this is not the sole right path. This is not being told to the soul that to follow others, but soul has been guided just to do your own things, not to focus on any other person or personality. But here the sun is highly influenced by the deeds of others, and they forget what their karmas are there. Basically, we see that's a partnership house, a marriage, matrimonial relation, and a public appearance. Seventh house is a public appearance, how you appear in the eyes of a public. So here what happened that the public always judge you. When sun in the seventh house, you yourself are not judging, but some other person sitting in front of you are judging you. So that is a sun placement in the seventh house. And basically the opposite partner, your social or commercial partner, either you are doing business in the partnership or your marriage partner, matrimonial partner, they are so much egoistic that you always try to balance with him or with her. So this is also not so good for the own self things. Yeah, it unlight yourself, it's a good thing that it is being aspected to the first house, so it will make you remember what is your duty. But still it is not good for the people who want to rise alone, who rise in the soul, they rise in the spirituality. This is not a good house. So by placing the sun in the seventh house, it means a light is placing in the place of darkness, so it is affected with the darkness, and you will be guided, followed, and drawn by the other people's soul. There are higher soul in front of you and which dominate the will of yours, and because of that you can't say anything in front of them. So I believe the sun in the seventh house is not so favorable. Instead of it's being a kendra, instead being it's aspecting first house, but people will forget their own duty and they are following what others are doing. So that's my view about the seventh house, and I equally appreciate your view simultaneously. Please.
Sometimes you speak very poetically, and you sound very much like a poet the way that you speak about things. That remember when we look at sun in the seventh house, we remember that the seventh house is the house of Libra, and that sun is the debilitation sign of the Libra. So there is a difficulty of having Sun in the 7th house, which is considered generally very challenging. Now, if it's exalted and in very good position, you can have a very powerful partner. You can have a very powerful position. You can be very successful financially and have good business contracts and business relationships and all of these things. It's very good for business contracts when it's in a very good position. But it's very difficult when it comes to the romantic relationship. The Sun in the 7th house, you would think would be, oh, that's a good position for love and marriage, and maybe it's possible. But as something Dr. Dharmesh mentioned, you put all of the energy on somebody else. So the Sun wants to be independent. The Sun wants to be free. The Sun wants to stand in the sky and shine its beautiful, beautiful rays of light. And it has this sense of wanting to not be controlled, wanting to not be free. So the 7th house tries to control the Sun, which means the partner might try to control what you wear, what you do, how you think, what you should believe. The partner has too much an influence on the individual, so the person doesn't get to be truly independent. It doesn't mean you can't have happy marriage if you have Sun in the 7th house, but you have to respect the independent aspects of who each individual is. So it's not a curse to have Sun in the 7th house, but it does make you work strongly on the relationship. And in a good position, it's good for business contracts and business agreements, and could also even lead to some fame and recognition. So it is a real mix of good and bad, but a lot of challenge comes from that debilitation sign of Libra, where we know there could be difficulty in relationship and how we relate to others. So I hope that was beneficial on 7th house, Dr. Dharmesh ji. And if you would like to discuss the 8th house Sun, I would be most excited.
Yeah. Yeah, very well said that somebody's ego will spoil your own individuality. That's a core part of the Sun in the 7th house. Now, moving forward to the Sun in the 8th house. See, this is a house of fear. We all know there's a house of fear. And placement of a Sun from its 1st house to 8th house is not so good. But on the aspect of the our community, like astrologers, like astronomers, researchers, occult science people, it is a bless for them. And 8th house, we all know it's a house of research. So your research will be always been appreciated. Your fear will be always been come out. See, when the fear, the 8th house is called the house of fear. So whatever the fear lies within the body, that comes in the 8th house. And our greatest fear is our death. If we die, that is our greatest fear we have. So what happened there, when Sun is placed in the 8th house, your enlightenment is there in the side of a darkness. The life which is in the dark is now come into the shadow, now come out from the shadow. So this is a right place for the Sun. Even though people believe that the 8th house Sun is not well for the health, it is not good for the reputation, but I believe at least they can adversely comes up. Like in the occult science, they are very much interested. They are like a tantric, they are like healers. They are very good in the field of healing people and saving the life of other people. They themselves might not be in the good position for them their own health, but obviously they are the person who always gives the good life, quality life to others' life. Instead of a 7th house, I give the 8th house Sun very powerful. Being it's a friendly sign. If we see about the Scorpio, it's friendly sign, and simultaneously it is a house whereby you will be coming out of the world. Seventh house is a death house. That means you are ending this life and entering into the new life. So that is a gap. Your soul has come out from eighth house. See, 4, 8, and 12 is a triangle. It's called moksha trikon. How moksha? That the position just before the death, at the time of death, and after the death is 4, 8, and 12 respectively. So here what happened at the time, instant, where your soul will come out. When your life is about to end, your soul will be enlightened. They know that where to go. So sun in the eighth house, in the darkness. See, every people die in the darkness. Means they don't know where they have gone, where they are supposed to go. But the sun in the eighth house, I believe good for the, not as a material world, but for the spiritual people. They got awareness that where their next life lies, where the next life is lies, they come to know, and accordingly they prepare for themselves. And there are so many people who take a death by themselves. It's not a euthanasia. I don't promote the euthanasia, but this is the consciousness about the death. They are aware about their death and they are planning about their death. It's not suicide. That is a third house. It's not a mercy killing or euthanasia, but it's our saint life. See, our saint, when they about to come to know that their time has arrived, they go to the cage, they left the food, they left the everything, and they go into the samadhi. When they utter the highest samadhi, meditation, they dissolve the body and the soul rise up. So this is a way where the sun in the eighth house, they lift their soul into the next life. And that next life we are going to discuss in the ninth house, because ninth house is the next life. But this is nothing but the preparation or about their next life. It's just a first beginning part of a ninth house. It's just the introduction part of a ninth house. That is why I like that fear comes out, their life will be enlightened, and they enlighten the other soul, they lift the other soul from the dark. What more people want from eighth house sun? So definitely you may give your valuable suggestion here.
Beautiful insights, Dr. Dharmesh. Thank you. Everything you said really touched me and resonates with me on a deep level. When we look at sun in the eighth house, now we're looking at Dusthana position. So it's moksha position. So that means the soul's direction is moksha. So let's not get too philosophical, but that means the soul is seeking Mahasamadhi. But before you can go to Mahasamadhi, you have to go through Samadhi, you have to go through loss, you have to go through letting go of your attachments. There are many layers of growth before we attain the Mahasamadhi. But when sun is in the eighth house, that's the direction that your soul is going to. So people with sun in the eighth house, I have a lot of spiritual respect for them because their sun is going in that direction. And it doesn't mean that they're going to get there. It doesn't mean that they're anywhere near there. It doesn't even mean that they know what it is. But it means that eventually their soul it's driven in that direction towards moksha. Now, these are some of the positive aspects of it. The eighth house is also the house of the mystical, of the cult. And the sun, it seeks to be the king. So when the sun is in the eighth house, it wants to be the king of the occult. It wants to be the master of the occult. So in this energy, you come out of all types of healer, Ayurvedic practitioner, yoga practitioner, Vedic astrologer, pranic healer, marma healer, acupuncture, reflexology. But you have all the alternative types of healing in there. And when sun is in position in this house, sometimes people have special gifts. One of the exaltation positions of sun is Ashwini. So let's say you have sun Ashwini in eighth house. well, then there is no doubt that you have a spiritual gift as an Ayurvedic practitioner, because the Ashwini Kumara, the Deva of the gods. So there is this very profound energy that leads towards healing and the healing process, and really becoming a healer as the soul's direction or the soul's destiny, in addition to the idealistic Mahasamadhi. Now, this is also from a Ayurvedic perspective, the house of the later three stages of disease. Sthana, Sham, Shreya, Vyakti, and a beta stage disease, which means now no longer the dosha is just aggravated, but it is gone aggravated to so much that it is deposited in a specific tissue. And depending on how long it has deposited in that specific tissue, it will make permanent changes and eventually destroy the tissue. A good example is like a cirrhotic liver, a liver with cirrhosis. So this is just, that's pitta in the liver. So we go through these different stages of disease. So when you have sun in the 8th house, they call it the house of vulnerability, because you're vulnerable to these later stages of disease on some deeper spiritual level. So that's why it leads you on a path to healer. That's why it leads you on a path to healing in some way. The investigation of medicine or astrology or spirituality or something deeper, something more meaningful, as a means to prevent disease in your life, to prevent the manifestation of disease in your life, to know what puts you in deep imbalance. And sometimes with strong energies in the 8th house, there are certain things that normal people can do, but because you have sun in the 8th house, you cannot do them. So normal people can drink the alcohol. They can have beer, they can have wine. Sun in the 8th house people, no alcohol. Some people, they can smoke the marijuana, they can smoke the banga. Sun in the 8th house people, no banga. So it is something very important that also has to do with the moksha elevation, is that when we use drug for spiritual experience, that is just a shortcut. But the only way to truly get there is through sadhana and spiritual practice and focusing more on the spiritual energies, although you might be tempted to take the shortcut with the sun in the 8th house. So that's what I have some to say about that, and love to hear your insights on the discussion of the 8th house, and also very much looking forward to your presentation on the 9th house, Dr. Dharmesh.
So very well said about the 8th house sun, and we both are agreed on the same point, that it's not it's an enlightenment for our own life and others' life. And our community astrologers are very much blessed having a sun in the 8th house. So now entering on the 9th house. 9th house, as we discussed the previous 8th house, we said that it's just an entry gate for the 9th house. Now the sun has already entered in the 9th house, and 9th house is nothing but the future path. People say it's a bhagya, luck. These all are a very dicey word, but I believe that 9th house is a life path. What the path you have choose for the life, because life already begins from 8th house. And what the system, what the things you have chosen for your life path, what the way you are walking toward your life is your 9th house. What is your prospect about your life is 9th house. And where the Rishimuni has guided that, use dharma. Dharma means dhar. It is derived from the word dhara, and dhar means to hold together. Means here the sun in 9th house, they are the people who came here to hold the people who are good teacher, who are good orator, and because of him some new religious has come out and they have hold the people together. So I get good vibes when the sun in the ninth house of the people. They are the people who are always blessed with the life path. They always having their own vision about the life path, own vision about the religious matter, spiritual matter, as well as the belief of what the life is. So they show the good right path. As we know, the Jupiter, the Guru is also from the ninth house. So they are a Vishwa Guru. They are the teacher, a world teacher, where they are a good orator, and by their own oratory, they are, it is benefit for the whole human being. So that is a good sign of a sun being ninth house. Their life path is focused, their dharma is defined, their religious prospects are always there. They shine outside their place, because ninth house is something about the foreign land or the other land. So they shine in the other land. When they are there in their birthplace, they are not being recognized, but in the foreign land they being recognized. So this kind of a result I have seen in the ninth house sun, and believing that you also possess something different from what I have prospect. So please continue.
As always, Dr. Dharmesh, so impressed. One thing that I've always said is that we have our animal self, we have our human self, and we also have the aspect of ourself which is divine. And the sun in the ninth house is a very special position because it focuses you towards that aspect of yourself which is divine. And even though there may be other aspects in your chart which are pulling you towards your human or animalistic tendency, the sun in the ninth house in good position, it pulls you to this more higher aspect of yourself, which is, I know they say we live in time of Kali Yuga, but you could think of your divisional 9 chart or your Navamsha and your ability to be living in your Navamsha and your ability to be living in the time of a higher Yuga. So it is a house of higher education. And so these people are great educators with the sun in the ninth house. And they should always be learning and they should always be teaching. And the sun in the ninth house is very strongly oriented towards religion. And if it's in a difficult position, that's not a good thing necessarily. So based on your sun in the ninth house, you can have a very evolved relationship with religion or a very radical relationship with religion. So it's important to understand the balance of your relationship with religion through the position of your sun in the ninth house. But I'm really looking forward to discussing the 10th house sun position. One more thing I want to say about ninth house is because the ninth house is the house of the guru. So the sun is the father, which can show some influence towards a male guru unless there's other feminine aspects. This doesn't mean that you need to worship anybody's feet. But what it does mean is that it's important for you to have people in your life that you respect, like I respect Dr. Dharmesh, and important other people that you respect and honor in your life. And through learning from them and learning together and teaching together, you increase this respect. So this is also very good about having, I have Venus and the moon in the ninth, but usually planets in the ninth house, they have this kind of energy of wanting to develop very good relationship with your teacher and your students. So that is my insight on the ninth house, but because sun is signification in the 10th house, I'm very excited to hear what you have to share, Dr. Dharmeshji.
Yeah, thank you for the appreciation. And see, I'm also a learner. I'm still not learn everything. That viewers should understand that I'm not complete yet. I am also learning every day some of the sutra, some of the sloka. Now, apart from the ninth house, when we enter in the 10th house, here where the sun is glow like anything, because here the real deeds happen. When we are in the fourth house, we have think about the 10th house, that the person having the 10th house aspect of the sun will be very powerful, very good. Now, sun is already placed in the 10th house. See, sun in the 10th house means sun in the south. Sun is in the top of your head, here in the crown chakra, where the sun is very sharp. And we all know when the sun goes in the head, in the south, it is very, very sharp energy. So here sun is very much powerful in the 10th house. It will light whatever the deeds you have to perform in this life. It gives a name, fame, and recognition. But being a karak of a father, I believe the father should be seen from the 10th house and not in the ninth house. Many uh, people have a debate with me, but I strongly still believe that the father gives a name, fame, recognition. Father never gives you luck. See, luck never given by the father. But yes, what to work, what deed is there. You have to work hard, you have to perform your deeds, is the father say. So father always tends you or tells you what the deeds, what the performance you have to do during the life. So that is why strongly I believe that the father should lies in the 10th house, which always guide you that what is your karma, what the work you have to do. So apart from this, it is good for the politician, it is good for the government people, as we have discussed in the sixth house. They are good government servant. They serve the government. But here in the 10th house, they become a politician. They become a minister. They become in the high profile. So, sun not been affected with any negative planet, if placed very well in this 10th house, then their deeds are always been recognized worldwide. Their work, whatever the work they have done, that will be appreciated by the people. And very innovative, they are very innovative people, very good administrator, because sun is good administrator. As a Mars, people believe is an administrator, but sun is a disciplined person, and it likes you to be a disciplined person. So that is a discipline, it is required by the sun. And sun always like to guide you in your deeds. It will always give you some boost. When you start some work, you need some enlightenment, you need something to be seen immediately what you are going to perform. It's like a trailer. So 10th house sun is nothing but the life path is further guided, because life path is a ninth house. It is further guided for the highest most deeds, what for what reason you have taken a birth. So those having a sun in the 10th house, they know what work they have to perform, and before they end up their life, they achieve their deeds or highest position in the society. So they enlighten not only their own deeds, but they enlighten for others people also, and they are a benchmark or life path for other people. So I like the position of a sun in the 10th house, and I'm eagerly waiting that what Kṣaṇāti is going to speak about the 10th house. Please.
Thank you, Dr. Dharmesh. I really appreciate everything you say. It very resonates with me very deeply. I express very similar things. The sun, of all the karaka positions or signification positions for the sun, I think my favorite is the 10th. In other words, my favorite position to see the sun in the chart is the 10th house, because the sun, the 10th house is the culmination of Arta. So you have the Arta houses, second house, sixth house, and 10th house. But the culmination, which means the greatest outcome of all of that vibration, comes out of the 10th house. So you have the sun in the 10th house, which fully culminates the Arta. So like you said in your description, it allows the person to achieve exactly what it is they wish to achieve, or their potential, or their dream, or their vision. And it is a strong indication for success and fame and position and reputation and recognition. Now, when it's afflicted, it also comes with problems in that house. Oftentimes you see Sun Rahu in the 10th house with lots of leaders, especially political leaders. Why? Because they are positioned in leadership from 10th house sun position, but Rahu, they're doing something sketchy. They are doing something illegal, or they are involved in some power hunger. They're doing it for their ego. So a sun is, I like sun with Mercury. I like sun with Jupiter, but otherwise sun alone in the 10th house. And, sun Mars is also very powerful, but it can be too much pitta. But if it's in strong sign, that can also be very good. And, but it does indicate you really achieving your full potential on the material world, on the material realm, which I like the saying, leaving your mark on the world. So we're all born in this life as little babies. And some people just want to go through life and live life. And other people want to leave this big impression, or they want to leave this big mark on the world. Well, undoubtedly the people with 10th house will want to leave this impression on the world, so that when they pass, when eventually they go through moksha, and remember, sun in the 10th house does aspect the 4th house, that when they go through moksha, that there is still something that they are remembered for. So that they are, so in a sense that they live eternally is also one deeper aspect of it, which I think is very interesting. And I hope that was fascinating or enjoyable at the very least. And look forward to your illuminations on the 11th house, Dr. Dharmesh.
Yeah, so 10th house, our views are common in the sense that person enlight their deeds. Now entering into the 11th house, 11th is a neutral house. We all know that it's a neutral house where all the planet becomes very firm. Now that's a desire fulfillment, that's a gain, that's a friends, that are social life. And nowadays, we all know this all are pop up like anything. Our social life has become the personal life has become a social life. Everybody interfere in your personal life. So sun being in the 11th house means you are more focused about the deeds completion, your desire completion, your wish to be fulfilled. So your priority turn back from your soul enlightenment to the desire fulfillment. And desire fulfillment is not almost a goal for the life. People complete their wish, they complete their desire by Mars, by attending the Jupiter. That's a good sign. But while sun in the 11th house, that means you are focusing on the things of your own desire, and you are not focusing what you supposed to do. Even though the sun in the 11th house is aspecting the 5th house itself, they are aware what the deeds they have to perform, what are the pending deeds they have from the previous birth. They are aware about it, but still in this life they try to complete their desire, and it is a desire fulfillment. So they are always focused on what kind of a desire they have to fulfill in this life. Friends, okay, their friends are such like a very influencing person in their life. So friends are also a very reputed, very name fame and famous personality are the friends. I seen their social life is very well designed. They are taking us time out of their busy schedule, and they always try to give their input in the society and social life. They are very active. Sometimes I've seen that 11th son, they are head of an institute, they are a principal, they are a very good achiever, because they put the enlightenment in their own desire, as well as they are very active in the social aspect. So sun being in 11th house, only one thing is that they are more focused about their own deeds, own desire completion, rather than its 10th house, where they are more into the others life. They are influencing here, they are influencing their own life and try to complete their own desire. I don't completely denying the sun placement good or bad in the 11th house, but as I earlier said, it's a neutral position. So neutrally, it will more promote on the personal aspect rather than focusing something about the other's life. So it makes a person somewhat a selfie about their own desire fulfillment, own like, dislike, rather than listening or hearing about the others. So that my input about the sun in the 11th house. So my dear friend, you also unlike the friendly house with the sun.
As usual, I agree with everything Dr. Dharmesh says. And one of the basic conclusions is it's a mixed vibration, or it's a mixed energy when the sun is in the 11th house. Let's talk about the challenges first, and then some of the positive aspects. Some of the challenges of the sun in the 11th house is that the person is very influenced by their friends. And that's something that Dr. Dharmesh mentioned very specifically. It shows there's a very strong spiritual relationship with the friends. But if the sun is in a difficult position, or Rahu, or Saturn, or other difficult aspects, and sixth house has some activity, then sometimes your friends can have bad influences on you. Sometimes who you think your friend could really be your enemy. Sometimes the people that you're spending your time with, it's because you conveniently do the same activities, but you're not really benefiting or serving each other on a spiritual level. But on the deepest level, the sun wants to have friends that benefit you on a spiritual level. A very exalted, high position sun in the 7th house has very strong, devoted, spiritual connection with their friends. But a very difficult sun can be very negatively influenced by their friends here. Now, also mentioned on the positive side of dreams, the sun in the 11th house lets you fulfill a lot of your own dreams, a lot of your own desires. So if you want to start something, if you want to do this project, do this thing, do this idea, then you should be able to complete it, especially if the sun is in good position. It allows you to fulfill your desires. But the downside of that is it can be a selfish position, because the sun wants to be with friends in the 11th house. So what are you sacrificing? What are you satisfying to giving into your desires? So on a more, because the 11th house is leading us to the 12th house, Dr. Dharmesh. And so where we start to hopefully begin to let go of our desires. So as you evolve with the sun in the 11th house vibration, it's yes, it's achieving your desires, but also learning to find recognition just through being yourself, because the sun represents being truth. So just by being you, just by being yourself, just by being your true self, you're honoring the sun. You don't have to satisfy all your desires. And this is a great transition as we start discussing the 12th house, Dr. Dharmeshji.
Yeah. Great insight about the 11th house, and somewhat neutral aspect of the sun in 11th house. Now reaching to the 12th house, it is almost a moksha house. We are entering into the moksha house, and who want to be a moksha? It is a soul. Body doesn't utter. Body doesn't want the moksha. It only release the soul, and the body becomes just a dead body. So it is not the body who required the this moksha, but that is the soul, and soul directly reach to the moksha. See, sun being in the 12th house, I believe that it's not so good, because you are only focusing about the moksha, and you are not preparing or doing anything for this life. You are ignorant of your present life, and you are somewhat planning for the moksha. See, planning for moksha itself says that you should complete your present deeds. Once you complete your present deeds, then only you can claim about the this moksha. So moksha cannot be uttered only by focusing it. It has to be complete the deeds. You have to complete your all the duties. Then only you utter the moksha. So for moksha, they are a mokshagami. They are planning for the moksha, but they are fell They fail to understand that this life deeds also being counted if they are ignorant. See, 11th house, I believe, is a house of nature where human intervention is not allowed, not required. Everything which governs by the nature, everything which is being done by the nature is your 12th house. So sometime 12th house, if occupied by benefit planet, nature is favoring you. If malefic planets seated, nature are not with you and they are not supporting you. So this is a clear picture of a 12th house being a nature. And you see, whatever things you see from the 12th house, you cannot able to express because it's a beyond your vision. 12th house is a loss. Nobody count their loss. Everybody counts their profit only. And they utter the loss, they lost. Everybody know what is a life, what is a lifestyle. But here, something is like a moksha. Something like addiction. See, second house where it is tempted you to eat something, where you give something to your mouth, that is okay, but that is on the side of seeing, whereas 12th house is totally unseen. It is a backside of your mind, and you don't know that whatever the habit you have developed, whatever like you like certain things, is one day turn into the addiction. A simple thing of a tea and coffee. We don't go for the addiction of drugs and everything, but simple things of tea and coffee, that is also sometimes become the addiction, and that is the 12th house. So you can't stay without it. The 12th house sun is also highlighting your moksha gami, your moksha path, but forgetting that your some duties are pending here and that you have to finish first. And 12th house, the sunny sun, I always seen that they are somewhere punished by the nature. Nature punish them because you are not focusing on the things which you have to supposed to focus. See what happened with the sun in the 12th house, it is directly aspecting the 6th house. That means you are focusing, you are enlightening your enemies, you are instigating your enemies, you are instigating your disease, you are instigating your oppositor to be powerful, and because of that, ultimately you are going to suffer. Sometimes some nation we know they themselves has developed the enemies, and that enemy one day come punish that state. So it is like that, that we have ourselves has created so many enemies, and because of that created of enemy or focusing more on the enemies, we are losing the path of the present life. I'm not so happy of a son in the 12th house, although they might utter the moksha, they might utter the peace in the heaven, but still there are so many deeds are not being completed. They are not focused about the present deed and just jumping, just skipping the present life and moving towards the next life. So that is a unfocused side I say about the person life. So that is the say of my in the 12th house. It is completely lost. The sun lost or lose its own qualities in the 12th house. So definitely you might have your own views. So you can also share simultaneously what you believe about the sun in the 12th house.
You
It's
say
all yours.
so much that resonates. I just add a few little extra points to add on. And it reminded me when Sun and K2 are conjunction at same degree in the 12th house, that's the sannyas yoga. So there is something very powerful to be said about Sun in the 12th house being beneficial for you spiritually, but its aspect on the 6th house is usually difficult materially. And although we like to think of moksha as something positive, and it is spiritually, but it also has to do with loss. And with the aspect of the sun on the 6th house, unless there's other good wealth positions, they can have lots of material losses and things in their life. So these can be very spiritual type people, but the sun is also the healthy ego. So when it goes in the 12th house, like Dr. Dharmesh mentioned, the sun is the 12th house is the subconscious mind. It's the mind that you're not conscious aware of. So on your conscious, you have no ego, but in your dreams and in your subconscious mind, that is where the ego is. So to work on your ego, you have to go through guru. You have to go through spiritual practice. You have to go through working with your dreams. You sometimes have to work with special traditional healers or doctors. And this 12th house, it can show on its most extreme what you call the possession, which it means that some darker vibration has taken control over the other person. So then they need some very deep kind of healing, like some kind of yagya by a Brahmin. But every religion does it differently. But again, this 12th house vibration, it does mean the soul wants to stop reincarnating. Which means if you have attachments, and every single ego has attachments. That's why the 12th house position is difficult, because it seeks to take the attachments that your ego has and remove them so that it may benefit you upon your spiritual path. And I just want to thank you, Dr. Dharmesh, for sharing this time with me. Or if you have any final comments, I am so honored to have done this analysis on the sun with you, and I look forward to determining which graha we will discuss next.
Yeah, so definitely we are doing the next series on the different planets, and especially Mars, or so many are in the queue. But I believe that after the sun, we have completed the moon, we have completed the sun. Now we should directly see the Saturn. And after the Saturn, because today's main talk of is a Saturn. If we reach the Saturn after 6 months, there is no things which is left for the Saturn. And I believe that Saturn should be spoken earlier than the Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter, all the balanced planets. So I hope that we able to do the Saturn series as earlier than the other series. Let's go with the essential of a life, not as a sequence of a life. That's what I believe.
Okay, infinite blessings, my brother. Om Namah Shivaya.
Namaste.